recently you just had your contract extended, right? Which all came at this weird, wacky, wild time in Impact Wrestling because it was, you know, we all know by now the whole Scott thing was not as big a surprise to him as it was to everybody else in the locker room. Again, goes back to that what we talked about before. Scott's very private on a lot of his stuff, who he lets in, who he's going to talk about this stuff with. But then at the same time, your contract all of a sudden gets picked up because you, by your own admission, said that you were kind of wanted to see what was going to happen out there in the free agency market. Mm-hmm. Did anybody ever contact you and kind of like, hey, when is your contract up? We want to sit down and have talks with you. Or was this like, I'm just going to jump out there and see what happens?
Nobody's ever contacted me from any company in specific. I've had people from other companies that I know and I'm friends with ask me when my deal's up. Mm-hmm. And I've told them that. And they've been like, well, I think you'd be a great fit here. You know what I mean? But like, other than that, nothing's ever been said. It's just, I'm pretty confident in where I am in wrestling right now, looking at the landscape of what is on TV for other promotions and stuff like that and seeing where I would fit. And I've never been, a free agent per se. Like my last deal, I knew that I had more stuff to do in Impact and TNA when I negotiated that with Scott, which was the 2-year deal plus the 3rd-year option that, the option that just got picked up. And I wanted to stay and establish myself more as a single star in pro wrestling. So that's why I stayed for that next contract. So the one thing that, I think I'd be doing a disservice to myself in my career, especially being 36 years old right now, and my family, to not see what else is out there. So I when my 2 years was up, I asked them, it's business. I totally get it if you want to pick it up. If you don't, I would love to explore their options out there. And you guys have a seat at the table as well to bring me a deal. Like, it's not like I want to leave. It's just I want to see what's out there. And they said they want to pick up the option. I have a toy coming out this year. I have all this other stuff. So securing me for another year makes a lot of sense for them business-wise. Totally get that. But by the time this year's up, I'm sure I'm going to explore other options and see what's out there, whether it be, I've always wanted to wrestle a very good amount in Japan. I have not been able to do that a great deal. That's something on my bucket list. There's wrestlers I want to wrestle that are in other companies that I will otherwise not get to wrestle unless I go to those companies. So
right.
There's stuff I need to take into account, and it's just that weird part of the business, man.
Who's at the top of that list?
Well, New Japan for sure. Like, I want to wrestle Shingo before, he's getting up there in age. He's in his mid 40s right now. Before he slows down, like Ishii was at the top of the list, and I got to wrestle him a few times now, so that's amazing. But like, there's of course the Bryan Danielsons in AEW, or the Swerve Stricklands in AEW. Like, I love their work. I want to see what I can do with them. WWE, like, Twitter has been going crazy for 2 years trying to get me fantasy booked against Chad Gable. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shortage of wrestlers in either company that I have a great deal of respect for, that I think that I could, have some magic with. So
is it wild though? Because when you see some of these people that do some of these fantasy bookings against, they're almost, it's almost like they don't see the forest through the trees, and they're looking at it like, oh, this guy is so similar in style to this guy. And you've been down this road long enough. That sometimes that doesn't always work out. It ends up being more of a clash of styles than anything else, right?
Yeah.